You're listening to Industry Talks on Design in Focus, a new multimedia channel serving CID. CID, Creative, Innovation and Design. Listen to representatives, practitioners and leaders on topics like industry development, skills, methods, movements, tools, concepts, projects, events, and much more. Hi, and welcome to Industry Talks on Design in Focus. Today, I'm back with Ricardo, and we're taking a deeper dive into KPIs and using it in design. Hey, Ricardo.
Hey, Candice, all good.
That's
Thanks
good.
to have me again. And let's start our KPI Rock series. A bunch of podcasts and methods. More than happy to start with our first topic today, which with one of the methods called KPI tree. So what everyone can expect in this podcast is I will make a presentation about what is a KPI tree, and then we're gonna have another open talk about this topic. And yep, let's probably start.
All right.
So
So I guess the floor is all yours. You can start with your presentation. I think you can share it, but you might need permission, but go ahead and share.
no
No?
problem. Yep, I think I
Yes.
can do it now, and
Perfect.
I think we can start, correct?
Yes.
So yep, thanks everyone is watching. So let's go to KPI Rock series. As you can see, so we are from the day to the night defining KPIs. So today we're gonna go to a good topic called KPI tree. So I'm gonna run with all of you here in terms of what KPI tree is, what is the context, when should you use this, and why you should use, and when you use the KPI tree method, what is the outcomes you should expect, and when you do the KPI tree, we use a 4C method. I will show you ahead, and better than speak is also show a live example how it works, and some basic concepts you can understand how to definitely create a KPI tree. Okay, so as we say, let's explore. This is a good exercise. Who is watching this podcast is probably thinking, so why is showing this image, right? Is a purpose here. Again, is you go to this shop, you can buy all these products, but if you come to this shop without an objective, you're gonna be lost. So the idea is when you come here, you can ask anyone in this shop to help you to buy one tool that is useful, but the question you will receive back is for what you need.
Yeah.
So you're gonna tell I need for this purpose. So the person on the middle of million products here is gonna select specific one for you. And this is a good metaphor for KPI tree or for KPI in general. So you go to organization, they have thousands of KPIs they can just define. But what is the objective exactly? So when you know that, you actually can start to work with your client to define that KPI, or that set of KPIs can actually be useful for them, instead of you waste that time to define thousands of KPIs in the end is not going to be useful for them. Make sure you really select very well the root of the problem or the root of the objective first. Okay. What it is a KPI, I always say it's just a performance measure that you care about. For business can be any number of things, from profits to customer complaints. A good example, I always tell a KPI, you have a car, you have your speedometer, that speed you can see in your car, that is a KPI. So that's it. That KPI definitely can just tell you what is important in the moment for you, which is measured speed. So you know in real time what is the speed you have. So next one will be the methods. Okay, overview. We have ROCs Enterprise and we have ROCs for small, medium companies. Enterprise generally is more flexible. We use these ROCs, results-oriented KPI system, with 7 steps. As you can see here, you have step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. But the journey doesn't finish here. what we're gonna today speak about, it's about step 3 and 4, which is long list and short list. And for that, we're gonna use that tree, which use the 4 C's, as you can see here, check, chat, check, and connect. What is a KPI tree? It's no more than a power visualization method that allows organizations' objectives to be broken down into more granular outcomes and relevant KPIs and metrics to track these outcomes. It's a number of benefits I will show ahead, but you can create a workshop where you can just link between different linkages between the objectives and strategic objectives. Then actually we'll measure everyday level in the form of a KPI tree. What you should expect when you make this workshop and when you work these video clients. First of all, you did the job before. You engage with them. You already set up the stage. So this is important also to mention. Then you go to a long list. So you just define a bunch of KPIs and then you short them to the most important for them. So in this session, you should sum up a complex situation is just a few indicators. So arrange sub measures into meaningful groups. Create a level summary measures become really straightforward because you see connections. You're going to build agreement, which is super important when you have stakeholders in your room. You're going to understand how these measures interact with each other. So it's not something a KPI is it's alone. No, it's a logic. And also create KPI tree that fits business purpose and direction. So you already give a direction for them. You're already showing this is the strategy you should follow. The 4 C's. So what means 4 C's? 4 C's is the levels of the tree. So let's call the tree as 4 levels. The first level we call chunk. Generally, you define 2 to 7 fundamental objectives from your organization. You can even do one or two. Then you express in chat, which is the level below, the strategic objective in a short narrative statement using rich descriptive language. So here you go from a super high level to a little low level. So you start to demystify that big language on top. And then you go to third level. So here you even go a level down. And here you need to be careful with some things like outcomes, not organizational silos. You don't want to give an objective from a department of your company. It just doesn't work. You really need to make more neutral. Descriptive depends. You really need to make this as short as possible. Remember, you are not making an article. You are just defining the KPI. Only words. Don't use excellent or the top. This is not possible to measure. Use tangible, measurable KPIs that you actually can connect on that. Time limited. Don't put time in KPIs. Play more subjective. Just if you want max, you can use a key indicator or a key result with a percentage you want to achieve in the next 3 months. Numbers, agnostic or complete. Don't give tasks and don't put also numbers there. Play simple. Remember, you are just the breakdown from a big objective to a KPI, and then you connect in the end. So then you already have the basically connection from your top objective for these 2 levels below. Then you start to understand the cross-link objectives and have a strong relationship between them, positive or negative. So then you can start to look about cause effect or conflict or companion. You can start to understand what things work and the other things doesn't work. In chunk, what we do in chunk, in this step involves identify outcomes or KPIs. Chunking at a tactical level, we call tactical level, that directly affect the box that we are chunking. So it's what you do in the second level needs to be connected with the first level. You need to understand the relationship between the both, so you can spread out that top objective in let's say 5 sub objectives in the beginning. Chat. In this step, you just express the objective using a rich narrative language. So here you definitely can go from, okay, you start for the big objective to the sub objectives. Now I will be more concrete. So make even more concrete. Then if you go to the check, Here, the check stage involves reviewing our checked and chat boxes for the 6 common issues. Then we'll cause our KPI 3 issues. So you go back. So you're going to look what you did until now. Then you're going to go by 3 points. Outcomes, not organizational silos that I spoke before. Boxes with descriptions about finance, HR, or sales are impossible to check in a meaningful way. It's creative. Rich language helps us avoid confusion and ambiguity. Remember that. Woolly words, it's a common mistake, but woolly words are phrases, examples like brilliant, excellent, outstanding, blending age. This is not measurable. So forget that. Just go to a more normal language. And then in Connect, what we do in Connect, then we just connect everything. So now you already just have relationships between them. In the final step, you just make sure you connect everything and you start to think about KPIs and indicators for each type of link you define that shows the relationship between the boxes. And then you start to create a bunch of KPIs, then you will double check with your stakeholders and make a decision.
Yeah.
So, but now what we're gonna do? And sorry guys, I know you are looking at podcast, I'm seeing me changing my here, but I'm trying definitely just make everyone can see the screen. Let's go to a Be Healthy KPI tree. So this is a simple tree about you want to be healthy. Everyone wants to be healthy, but this is the top objective. So how are we going to make this even more clear? I want to eat well. This is a breakdown of be healthy. And even more concrete, I want to manage calories intake. So you can start to see the connection. And now I have everything I need probably to define a KPI. I want calories consumed per month, per week. So here you can start to have some numbers that connects directly with a strategic first approach. This is generally a tree. This can be even more complex, but I will show all connection. So from the first objective, I make the chunk parts, which is the team, in sub-objectives. And to eat well, I need to have the right amount of quality sleep. I need to be relaxed state regularly, for example. I need to minimize unhealthy habits and eat well. That is, I need to be aerobically fit and control lose weight. So that is the second level. Let's go to a level below. So here, to minimize unhealthy habits, I need to manage smoking and drinking, because this is a direct cause from unhealthy habits. And what I can connect even a level down is the quantity of cigarettes smoked per day. So this gives me an indication if I'm actually minimize my habits by managing my smoke and drinking, that is directly connected with be healthy. So it's an example of a real tree. But let's go to basics concepts now. Generally in the tree, you have different elements. The first one is the boxes you use, which can be tactical, team, KPI, etc. Then you have the connectors, which is a relationship between the different types of objectives and sub-objectives. And generally, when you have one team and you connect different objectives, you have called the nodes. So the node makes the connection of multi-objectives in one specific sub-objective. And this is the levels generally work. So always remember, strategic is your top objective. Then you start to go down to team and then to tactical, and finally you can connect to the KPI. So that is how a KPI tree works, guys. So I hope everyone likes, and probably let's go to now some conversation, right? Candice?
Yeah. I found that very interesting, especially the layers of the tree, how you get to KPI, because the 3 layers above seems to me to be very much related to the design and innovation process as well, right? Could you walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So when you do that first, again, we go into different examples like the double diamonds. When you go to the problem statement, or when you go to before ideation process, you really need to understand what is the problem you want to tackle in that moment. That will be connected with an objective. So if you do this work with your client and you go through the different levels with your clients, when you actually go in that double diamond, when you go to deviation, you not just have the problems statement well defined, but you also can start to create solutions based in these KPIs you defined before, because you already have the direction from what the client tell you wants to go. But more than that, you make that even more clear for you and your clients. So in that sense, in the design process, when you, before you even go to solution, you have already back up yourself with, okay, this is my strategy, this is my KPIs I need to follow, probably some research you did before with your research team. So now I can take a design decision made that applies to the right strategy, the right metrics, and now my design needs to reflect all
Yeah.
of what I did before. So more than just go by human-centered approach, you get a little bit biases and assumptions because you already have a business direction. Then it's up to you how you want to define the
Mm-hmm.
solution or design direction you want with your client. I think in here, Candice, you feel you make your clients more reassured if you do this work with your clients. You make them feel they can actually measure in real time what they want to, what means success for them. So when you finish your design process and you have a solution in the end, can be a app, can be a website, can be a feature, you can actually direct connect with a set of KPIs you defined before. So
Yeah.
then you have the extra, which is you finish the design process and what happened next, right? Then you wait to see if the conversion rate goes up or not. Then you also can go to KPIs and see if you improve or not in a certain area in your client business. So I think this is quite good for the beginning, before, and in the end
Yeah.
when you manage your
It
client.
it makes a lot of sense, especially from a business perspective, but also from a professional, personal perspective, because although you can measure success for the business, you also measure success for yourself. You know, so you
Yes.
set a goal of wanting to become this great designer, and by measuring your own performance or the performance of your performance, you can sort of evolve yourself and become a little bit better. So I think that's quite interesting.
Which just go ahead for who's looking at podcast is one podcast definitely gonna do, which is the target design, or that actually covers a little bit what you're saying,
Oh,
because you
really?
not just can define the KPIs but also can define the targets.
Yeah.
Um, because is a quite a confusion between UKIs and KPIs,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is objective key results and key performance indicators. People
Mm-hmm.
need to understand the difference between these two. The key performance indicators is a long-term goal.
Yeah.
The objective key results is short-term goal,
Mm-hmm.
and you can connect these in the tree too. We can definitely create, like, connect a UKI to a main objective in a strategic level,
Mm-hmm.
and also you can create a key result in the KPI level. So if you
Yeah.
tell me I want to increase I want to a percentage of conversion rate, my key result can be increase the conversion rate for 20% in next 3 months. This
Mm-hmm.
is a key result. It's a short key result or for 3 months, but you have an objective linked to that KPI. So that
Mm-hmm.
is also something people can also do this relationship
Yeah. All
in the
right.
tree. Yeah.
Well, that's probably for another session, but
Yeah.
you've piqued my interest a little bit. Can you tell me about the difference in the two for designers, and yeah, maybe give us a little bit of an intro what the next session will be about?
Definitely. Um, so what will be about, it's you do this KPI, you engaged, you set up strategy, you do long listing and then short listing after these three. Then you're gonna go to definition phase. So
Mhm.
okay, you have your 10 KPIs and you need to work in a KPI canvas with your client. So you need to define it from your KPI. What is the mathematical formula? With involved, how much time will take, what is the target related with this KPI, and which outcome you expect to receive from this KPI, like the main. And also it's an interesting one generally I do, which is reverse brainstorm, which is when you define the KPI, you need to think ahead. What is the possible errors can happen in a KPI? We generally switch our brain in the other side. So what I mean is you start with this is my problem I want to solve. Then you became this problem in a solution, and then you became this solution into a problem again, and then from this problem you go to solution again. And doing this trick with your brain, which is reverse brainstorming, you think in possible problems you can have in the future. You just can really go the worst scenarios possible. And this is quite funny because our brain as a human, we tend to see problems everywhere. So when you make a workshop with your client and ask them to tell you problems, it's the best thing you can do to them. So they're gonna make a list of a lot of problems. And then the funny part is after they do that, the next part of workshop is now give me solutions again. So then the problems they create, they need to give you the solutions. And this gives an idea, okay, if I implement this KPI, this is what can happen in the future as problems. And this is solutions probably I can have for this specific problem. So more than just define that KPI, you also can just think ahead on time, and then you can take a decision, say, okay, this KPI actually is good to keep or is not good to keep. Let's probably park this KPI for another time. It's not the right moment to do it, or probably is the right moment, or because we have the right people to manage in terms of costs to maintain this KPI or to build. It's not too much, it's too high. So you think in all the aspects of KPI, and that's where comes the target. Because then from here you can go to the targets and look a more behavioral approach and understand what is behavioral factors are connected with the KPI. When you define the targets, can be in a sales context, when you have your sales team, when you have different objectives for each sales team, and this can be quite useful. So this is what the target comes.
I think, sort of related, especially because you said the word behavior, as UX designers, the behavioral sciences play an integral role in how we design. Are there ways to measure certain behavioral sciences which are more influenced by random humanness than always happening the same? What's the word for it? Sorry, my brain is not.
In terms of behavioral, you can measure. We generally come a little bit from more the impulse in terms of behavioral. It's a little bit covered the neuroscience with the UX. It's generally when you go to the beta and alpha parts of your brain, and we generally, when you use the EEG to measure your brain activity, you spot different activities in your brain then can trigger the responses what you have as a human, right? So if you ask them, okay, but KPIs can play a role here, probably yes. I already did neuroscience, and I can tell you that it's quite amazing. You see how people can trigger you without knowing, how biased we can be, how our face recognition can smile, like a person can smile to you and you see the face, but when you actually go to the graphs and what you see, actually what the brain is telling here, that person is actually feeling some type of difficulty to complete the task, or is not feeling comfortable, but his face is smiling. So what happened here? That is the behavioral parts. We are too complex as humans. As much as you know your product and your client base, you can start to spot patterns, and this is why you can create smart KPIs. Okay? And smart KPIs means what they actually do in your products. What is the normal actions they do in a monthly basis, for example. So you can start to, in the specific points of your product, you can start to create like measurements, KPIs, some smart measures, and then this is why you can start not just trigger the numbers, because you're gonna have numbers,
Yeah.
but that numbers are connected with that behavior you observed before, and that gives you the indication that the product not just being improved, but that the engagement of that user is also being improved. So you do the both, but it's take time and a lot of observation, I would
So,
say.
where does this belong in the KPI tree? Because I sort of see different metrics, and sort of the way that I evaluate these metrics.
Yep.
Some of them are more tangible, and some of them are more, like the smart, and then the behavioral parts. Do you sort of filter between them, or do they live together in the tree? Yeah.
You can filter by generally in this tree. You can make this workshop in different days. Each day you can have different teams, and the teams are gonna give you different inputs.
Mm-hmm.
Can one day you can have the team is more technical, and the engineer team that you can go and give you different KPIs, and then the C-suite can be there and give you more financial and financial KPIs, just can drive the business in the right direction. And the other way can be even the designers to go there and tell, okay, this is from a user experience perspective, I think this is connect with the product, and that can be interesting to track. It's a little, the tree can be spread in different interactions with different
Mm-hmm.
teams, and in the end you can look at a huge tree, can just be like literally a table, and you really need to look and just to short list what it's important.
Mm-hmm.
And here you can have behavioral KPIs there. So depends what is your objectives as a company.
Yeah.
Depends of, you want to be innovative. Okay, let's work in research. Let's work more in behavioral approach. Let's set up some smart behavioral KPIs, because we
Mm-hmm.
want to be innovative and we want to be more into the research area or field.
Yeah.
So yeah, depends the company, depends the budget, depends what the company actually wants.
Yeah.
And so yeah, person.
I've always been a person that's gone a bit too far in times, but when I try with my business to, yeah, KPIs, I just sort of measure my performance, but not professionally like you. But having these objectives, for me, it changes quite frequently, and to shortlist it is quite a challenge, because especially when you're inexperienced, such as myself, everything seems important. Like, how do you define what is truly important and what should you really measure?
Super interesting. That is two questions you need to answer. You need to answer yourself. What is important for the business?
Mm-hmm.
How easy is to measure?
Yeah.
Okay, because you can have 10 KPIs and all of them are super important for you. But then
Yeah.
you're going to go and start to think, how can I measure this? This is actually not possible to measure now. I don't have that resource I needed to actually make that calculation, or have the capability, technical capability to do it. So in the end, you're going to find yourself with 5 KPIs you can do now. they
Mm-hmm.
still they still important for your business. They still measurable. You can really
Mm-hmm.
measure them, but you have the other 5. They still super important, but you can't do that now. They generally go to the parking lots.
Mm-hmm.
You just put them there in we call the shortlist template, and you can just go when you, okay, now I have the capabilities I didn't have 1 month ago. I can actually take this KPI
Yeah.
now. So
Okay. Yeah.
it's important you do the tree, because you're going to have 30 KPIs and you're going to select 5 now or 10, and then tomorrow your business change
Yeah.
direction, or your competitors have a different strategy and need to adapt. So probably that KPIs you defined before doesn't make too much sense for you now. So you need to adapt to the market, to the industry
Yeah.
standards. So you're going to review with your team. Okay, let's review what we defined before. It's way easy if you do this work before. So you have already the KPI tree, then you can have your Excel file, you can look at what you define with your team, then you just go pick up and change. It's way easier than start the process again from scratch. Will be time consuming for your stakeholders. I think it's always good to do it, come back. It's KPI is not a finished product. We
No.
never finish.
Yeah.
What is important for you depends of the politics situation of the country you live, or in the world. Social speaking, personal, professional, depends off a lot of factors. You really need to be flexible and adapt to
Yeah.
your business, right?
Yeah. So it's even though it's quite a lot related to, for example, market graphics, market performance.
Yes.
Unlike market performance, which is always up or down, this has got
Yep.
like a 3D space where it can go sideways and yeah, in all
Yep.
directions as well. Yeah,
Exactly.
pretty
That
cool.
I would say next step is another podcast. Sorry if I'm advertising all techniques, but everything is connected.
Yeah,
It's one thing then you need to think about is you're gonna go to the KPI dashboards. So you need to think about report design.
yeah,
What is the standard visual language you will use for people to look at your graphs and understand the
mhm,
data? It's another team, another method you need to learn, because
yeah,
more than important than define these KPIs is how to you show visually
mhm,
to your audience,
yeah,
and also for you how you're going to read the data with your
yeah,
team. So it's important to use the right standards. Generally, I use International Business Communication Standards, which is IBCS, and that gives all the graphs looks the same, but the color and the language and style is accessible. It's easy to read and is
mhm,
easy to actually to understand what is there. So think
yeah,
about accessibility. Is a topic we use all the time, and this is also a good case to tell
yeah,
about. It's like make the data accessible for your stakeholders and your overall. Yep.
yeah. Data visualization is, I think, well, I've been aware of it for a couple of years now, and you know, it is an art to have really well designed visuals for your data, right? It's
Yeah.
yeah, you need a lot of innovation and creativity to to design these solutions, I think.
And you need to be creative when you want to apply your KPIs.
Yeah,
Make a plan how to actually implement your KPIs. So
yeah,
sit with your team, your front end team, or your data team, and just define. Okay, we have these KPIs. Okay, for each KPI, what do I need?
yeah.
Where are gonna push the data from? How we gonna feed the data? Will be live? Will be manual?
Mm-hmm.
How you want to show the data? Um, what 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 type of report you want to generate from this data for your stakeholders? So make like a plan with them, make into bullet points, and then you have the full plan. Okay, I have these KPIs, and each KPI I need to do this in order to make this KPI work live. And
Mm-hmm.
then when you have this, implement your report dashboard there, then just create a ceremony, like we say in Agile, every week to go with them to look at the data and use the data smartly. Look at possible problems the data can tell you, see patterns, and then keep the loop of improving. So that's probably my recommendation. Don't think you know the KPIs and that's it. It's done. It's not. It's more work to do after that.
Well, thank you very much, Ricardo. That was very thought inspiring, and I guess we're going to go into it a little bit deeper in the coming sessions. So
Yep.
thank you for your time, and we'll see you
You.
again next week or the week after that.
Exactly. Thank you, Candice, for having me here again. Have a good weekend. Thanks everyone who's watching us. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
If you've enjoyed listening to this session, please subscribe to us and follow us on social media. Visit designinfocus.org for more information and content. Design in Focus is a labor of love and can use any and all support. If you'd like to help keep us alive, please consider making a small donation.